Welcome YouTubers, this is NecroarcanistXIII in association with Bandit 1569, bringing you next episode in Book 1 of the Necrosis Chronicles, Hell's Crusade. If you haven't yet listened to chapters 1 through 18, then do so now to avoid spoilers. Previously on Hell's Crusade, Dante stumbles into the cursed town of Raven, which, as I just said, has become corrupted by a demonic curse. After exploring the town for a short while, he finds that Adele's twin sister Kara may be in the town, and furthermore may be the cause of the curse. He sets out to find her, but only finds cultists, demonic nurses, and the prophecy of a fallen angel that will liberate Raven at the cost of taking the curse with him. Believing that it concerns him and Kara, Dante is suddenly knocked out as he encounters a creepy girl in the hospital surgery auditorium. What will happen to him? Find out in Hell's Crusade. Chapter 19, Atonement of the Flesh. Back in Australia, Raziel and John had nearly exhausted themselves in their search for Dante. Following the strange vapour trail, they managed to dig a tunnel over a kilometre long and nearly 1/10 as deep into Mount Owen. Still no sign of Dante, said John, and the trail seems to be running out. Don't know how he managed to go this far, said Raziel. I think that creature did get to him. Well, we can only hope that he hid in the crack, waited to escape the wall, then got out, and he's probably on his way back home now. We can only hope. Then again, if that creature did get him, I call dibs on killing it. Teach the long-haired bastard to eat my square M&M. Come on, let's just get the hell out of here. Everyone else is friggin' waiting on us. At that moment, a loud rumbling noise shook the walls of the cave and the two prepared to fight. All of a sudden, Vincent came rolling down a tunnel. John and Raziel leapt to the sides to avoid the human boulder, allowing Vincent to crash into the wall and tunnel through it, giving entrance to another tunnel. As Vincent stood up and walked out in front of John and Raziel, the white mist began to pour back out by the bucket load, enveloping the three up to their waists. Adele, with the bandage still around her leg, and Brooklyn and Zoe close behind, both wearing their ghost outfits, all came running down together, careful not to trip. "Hey, you alright, Vinny?" asked Adele. "I'm okay," replied the giant. John began brushing Vincent off. "You be trippin', boy," he laughed. John looked around as if he were expecting something. "We need to find Dante. His smart-ass remarks would be good for a laugh every now and then." "Let's go then," said Adele. "If he's gone through here, we'll find him eventually." Adele began to walk into the mist. "Deciding to take the lead for once?" asked John. "You bet," replied Adele. "I'm a strong woman, brave enough to make my own decisions. If she had the courage to do what she wanted and it only got her so far, I might as well find some good in that heartless wretch and make my own stand on life. Zoe told me that." John gave a small laugh out of interest. Not surprising. In college, old Zoe here once joined a feminism rally just for the fun of it, and she wound up leading the damn thing. I just wish her woman-maniacs didn't trash my dorm in protest. "I said I was sorry," commented Zoe. "I'm just pissed about the fact that I had to clean it up, even though I actually supported you lot." Vincent laughed. "I thought Dante would fit in feminine rally." "I didn't join the rally. Zoe hired me as a bodyguard because a group of guys started a masculinism rally to keep the women subservient. Knocked out nearly 30 dudes alone trying to stop the girls, as well as a couple of random weirdos who attacked them during the night rallies on the street. Problem was, the girls were going to prank the masculinist storms, and I was out of town that night. I had to bail Bob out of jail because he looked like an infamous serial killer in the area. Anyway, they got the wrong side of campus and trashed my room. At least I managed to stop them before they hid rotten food in the air conditioners," interrupted Zoe. "It's a good thing you're the only metalhead I know who actually bought the CD of Marilyn Manson's Power Emperor instead of downloading it online." "Well, it was a rare collector's edition signed by all the band members, plus the members of the Marilyn Manson tribute band who done the opening act. Only 10 were signed like that, and the other 9 were destroyed in a fire, started by the religious types that last stopped that tour. It's well worth $100 on eBay then, well worth $1 million now. Anyway, we've gotten off track. If you're going to step up and take a stand, Adele, then be my guest. Just don't be surprised when some chauvinistic arsehole tries to shank ya." Adele cringed at the thought. "Oh, but I got him, no," continued John. slightly sadistically. Ain't often enough for someone to get the drop on me, but they don't live long enough to enjoy the rarity of the moment. I managed to hit him that hard in the head, he developed whatever it was Stephen Hawking has. John waved his arm out into the fog, allowing Adele to step past him and lead the group into the abyss. Meanwhile, back in the town of Rothraven, Dante awoke. His sight messed up, as if he was hungover from a birthday in which every party guest brought a whole keg of beer for him to drink each. Jesus fucking Christ, he exclaimed. When was I hit by a fucking train? Dante jumped up and looked around. He noticed that he was inside the strange girl's room. The white walls were coated with blood that, thankfully, did not seem to be his own. Within the splattering, he could see heavily distorted writing that was of dried blood, whereas the rest of the walls were still wet. The best Dante could make out from the writing was "Seek me no further," but there was far more to the message than that. Resorting to his brains, he tried to figure out the rest. Compelled to obey, death awaits, mortal born. Dante looked around, slightly fearful and frustrated. He decided to leave the room as the girl was no longer inside, but there was only one door and it was boarded up. He tried to see through the windows, but what was not bloody was fogged up. There has to be a clue here somewhere. If spy movies are of any use, then there might be a hidden passageway somewhere. Dante laid out his options. Inside the room was a small writing desk with a large mirror fixed to it, a chair and a dressing table with 2 drawers, a quilted bed, and a bookcase with nothing but a black chalice sitting on the topmost shelf. Looking for a clue, Dante sat down at the table. Judging his previous experiences, he thought that finding a diary would be crucial towards finding anything useful, but there did not seem to be any. Checking the drawers first, Dante found 2 antique coins made of black metal and a leather pouch made to contain fluids. He opened the pouch, but there was nothing inside. Turning to the bookcase, Dante found nothing apart from the chalice. Feeling behind it, there were no open passageways. So Dante took the chalice from the top shelf and saw that there was a silvery, milky white liquid inside of it, the smell being more revolting than that of the blood lining the walls. Dante ripped a small segment of the bloodied lace curtain and dipped it in the liquid, and the lace came out clean. Realizing this, Dante poured half of the liquid into the pouch, and then threw the rest of it at the wall before placing the black chalice back on the shelf. The wet blood dissolved in the silvery liquid, which slowly evaporated into white mist that then dissipated completely. The full message now wrote, in clean, cursive writing, "Seek me no further, for I am compelled to obey, by thanks to a curse placed on myself by an evil demoness. Trapped forever in time, those of purest heart see not my suffering and are convinced to run. The rest, however, are able to see my curse, and are convinced to follow. My curse forces me to slay those who try and save me. Death awaits all those of mortal born, only demons can free me of their own work." As Dante finished reading, the walls mysteriously became coated in blood once more. Loud, heavy footsteps could be heard marching towards the door, forcing Dante to duck and roll under the bed. He watched as the door burst open, and a tall man with a coat exactly like his own burst into the room. Behind him, he dragged by the legs an unconscious girl, bound and gagged in mouldy ropes. Dante recognized the girl immediately, as it was the final girl he had saved from the fire months ago at the Young Women's Academy of Silent Hill. Her body, clothed in a white long-sleeved shirt and shorts, was nearly torn apart, as she was wounded while struggling to escape the man dragging her. Her eyes opened and she was just about to see Dante, but then she was hoisted up onto the chair. The tall man threatened her in a rough voice. "Where are the rest of them?" He ripped the girl's gag out of her mouth, throwing it aside. "Tell me where your friends are! I'll make this quick!" Several more people, dressed in robes, walked into the room. Dante could not see their faces from his angle, but the smell of their collective feet wasn't nearly enough to make him pass out. He was hoping to rescue the girl, but there were far too many people for him to take on now. "Go to hell!" screamed the girl. "You go to hell and you die!" "We're already there," said the tall man. "The ritual is incomplete. However, the blood from you and the other survivors will complete the circle. As long as you tell us where they are, we will not make you or them suffer much." "I won't tell you. Believe me when I say we will not take this lightly. If you fail to provide us with what we need, we will torture you endlessly until you do." "Shut up!" One of the cultists smacked the girl across the face. "You shut up, bitch," he said. The cultist then turned to the tall man. "Gagger, we'll go to the Chamber of Suffering. Perhaps she'll be willing to talk when she sees the various contraptions that will rip off her flesh." The cultist bent down and picked up the rope, which the tall man snatched out of his hands and tied around the girl's mouth, before proceeding to drag her away again. Dante could do nothing as he watched the helpless girl, who caught sight of him, somehow recognised him, and albeit muffled, tried to plead for him to help her. The instant the group was out of the room, Dante made a rush for the door, but it slammed itself shut and boarded itself back up via unseen forces. Dante peered through the keyhole, but there was nothing there. Dante then tried to shove his sword underneath the boards to pry them off, but the blade was too long to fit in between. He went to scratch his head and realised that he was still wearing the metal mask he had carved out of the car. He took it off and wedged it between the boards, and after some struggle, Dante finally managed to remove one of the boards. Then he proceeded to take the rest out in this manner. Once he was finished, he put his mask back on, but then at that moment he heard heavy footsteps marching towards the door again. He ducked behind the door and was nearly crushed by the force of it being thrust open. He did his best to hold it open as to avoid suspicion, as the tall man and the cultist stormed into the room and began to check the furniture. "Where is he?" cried the tall man. "The fallen angel is in this room somewhere and we cannot let him disrupt our plans." Eventually, the only place left to look was behind the door, so Dante had to windwalk his way out, staying in the corner opposite the two as they looked. Eventually they gave up. "Bah, that girl gave us false information," said the cultist. "I call the branding iron when we get back." The two slammed the door shut behind them, and Dante ran over and opened it himself. Much to his shock, the entire doorway was boarded up with bricks. "How the hell?" he remarked. Dante tried to knock down the wall, but it seemed too solid to be broken, let alone pushed over. In frustration, he slammed the door shut, but then he remembered that he still had the key. Seeing how strange and surreal the physics of this world was, he fumbled around in his pocket and found the key to the room. He shoved the key into the lock and turned a complete half circle before the door opened by itself. Dante then took the key and left the room. He was now in a long dark hallway. The roof and floors were made of metal grating that seemed to be lined with heads that stared at him. The walls were prison cells, and the prisoners that were inside were reaching out, trying to grab at Dante. However, he simply disappeared and began roaming through the holes, trying to avoid being caught by his movement. Despite this, he made no noise as he ran down the corridor, and at the sound of screams, he dived through a barely open door and sneaked inside a room filled with fog. Using it to his advantage, Dante looked around for the source of the screams, but he could not see anyone or anything. However, in the far end of the room, a massive globe barely shined through the fog. Dante walked up and examined it closer to reveal that it was a fan, but was not turned on. There was a lever beside, so he pulled it and the fan began to turn. The fog was sucked out of the room as a mechanical whirring noise filled it. Looking around, Dante saw that the room was a giant circular area, reminiscent of the basement of Mountain Heights, where the Golgothan was fought, except it was half the size of an area, and instead of child labour powered crystal generators, the walls were lined with various torture devices, some with corpses still inside of them. The centre of the room had a series of stone pillars with human hearts sitting on top, some of which were still beating. Walking around the torture devices, Dante eventually came across a stretching rack. The poor girl was already dead, having been tied to the rack and then impaled repeatedly with massive nails. Some were the size of Spearin's massive claws. Dante shook his head and sighed. I'm too late. Sad to see such a pretty thing go to waste. I know, came a voice from behind. Dante whipped around in shock, and he could see the girl standing directly in front of him. Surprising, is it not? She asked. My name's Shari, and I've been killed by the order of Malthazar. Now my soul is trapped here, doomed never to climb the stairway to heaven, or walk the highway to hell, until I'm set free. You're a ghost? Asked Dante. Nearly. I have a physical form, however. Until those demons return and turn me into one of their own, I can be of help to you. Dante sighed and scratched his head. Of all the places for you to end up after that incident. It doesn't matter, interrupted Shari. You saved my life once, so now I can help you save another. How can you help me? Well, when somebody is killed by the Order, they return having the knowledge that the Order does. Right now, the Order safeguards a soul in distress, one of the 32 that survived the catastrophe. You mean 31? No, another was saved by the one who betrayed her. The one you have come to find. Dante began to click onto what Shari was saying. So then, where is she? He asked. The Nephilim. She is hidden within your home, inside a deep mountain. However, inside there is a nexus, a gateway that leads here. There are many hidden entrances to Rothraven, but they are hidden within perilous places that so many people fail to live long enough within to find a gate. All of the gates lead here, and when the spell over this town is broken, they will all lead to what you seek. So, I just have to lift the curse to find Kyra. That's right. This Palace of the Damned is a giant catacomb, stretching deep into the Earth's own flesh. To open the gateway to the Hell Queen's chamber, the first step is that the sacrifice of 21 sacraments must be made. 21 sacraments? Yes. It is why the Order is tracking down my fellow survivors. When your comrades returned us home, we found members of the Order waiting for us, and they dragged us all into this living nightmare. See those pillars in the center of the room? Dante looked past Shari, and there were 7 pillars arranged in a circle, with one sitting off to the side. All of the pillars in the circle had beating hearts, while the one left out had nothing. Take my own heart and place it upon the altar, said Shari. Although the Order is required 21 sacrifices of hearts, you can work a way around it. Are you sure? I've already had to sacrifice somebody just to get this far. So that is 1. There are 7 hearts here to be taken, so that is 8. There are 13 members of the Order at the moment, so if you offer their hearts to their god instead of them offering the other girls, then the first breach will be open. At that moment, an array of footsteps could be heard outside of the room. That's them! Quickly, you have to kill them! Dante brandished his sword, spread his dark wings, and flew up above the central altar of 7 pillars, while Shari turned around and mourned over her own corpse. 12 cultists walked into the room, chanting. Behind them, they dragged the 30 girls who were previously hiding from them. Hidden out of sight, Dante waited for his moment to strike. Then one of the cultists pointed out, "Look, there's a fallen one! Quickly, we have to consecrate her before she escapes!" Deciding that now was better than ever, Dante floated down, acting all high and mighty, as was his personality. "You shall not touch her!" shouted Dante, hovering over the pillars. "You will let these girls go, before I sever the chains that bind your damned souls to this earth and plunge them into the abyss." Dante spread both of his arms out, looking towards the sky as if he were ascending to heaven. "The Lord Almighty has seen the sins you have committed, and he has sent me as the hand of his wrath. I am the angel of death, and the time of ascension is at hand." Dante slowly waved his katana in front of his face, glaring over the face of the blade. "Don't come any closer, Angel," called one of the cultists, "or the little skanks will get it." Dante sneered. "Is that so? My body is vengeance for the fallen, and my blade is perdition. Care to see what it is like?" Dante disappeared in a burst of smoke, and he began to perform his blade dance, eviscerating the entire group of cultists, while leaving the girls untouched. Dante reappeared over the pile of corpses, and somersaulted in mid-air, landing just behind a group of girls. He then set about to free the tortured girls, while 12 stone pillars emerged to make an outside circle, with just a single gap. "There's only one left," said Dante, "so where's the big guy?" Dante began to carve out the cultists' hearts and place them upon the altar pillars, while Shari did so with her own heart. As the final heart was placed, the final pillar rose into place. The tall man in the trench coat barged into the room, causing all of the girls to run behind Dante in fear. "It's the butcher!" they cried. The man looked around and saw the bodies of his brethren. "So, the 21 Sacraments is nearly complete. There only remains one question. Whose heart shall bear the ultimatum? Mine or yours?" "I'll put my bets on yours," said Dante. "I can cut it out from all the way over here." "You talk big for such a little boy." Dante rushed forward and slashed repeatedly at the butcher. However, he blocked every hit with his hands that were encased in tight, human skin leather gloves. "Your powers are nothing," he taunted. Dante was shocked, but then he pulled a smug face. "Perhaps my powers are nothing, but his isn't." The butcher turned around, only to get a gigantic blade shoved through his face, killing him instantly. "Nice one, Stan," said Dante. A giant pyramid-headed figure wearing a human skin leather apron trudged into the room, dragging a sword of monstrous size behind him. However, the pyramid-shaped helmet was not like Stan's. The helmet was facing diagonally, whereas Stan's was aligned with his sides. The front point of the pyramid was elongated and pointed down, and the figure was not wearing Stan's signature guitars. On top of it all, the figure was over 8 feet tall, whereas Stan was only 6. "Holy shit," muttered Dante. The figure swung its sword down upon Dante in a matter of seconds. However, the giant figure burst into the room and grabbed the sword, pulling it away. "Vincent!" shouted Dante. "How the hell did you find me?" Vincent threw the giant monster away down the corridor. Then he pointed at the group of girls hiding behind the pillars in the middle. "We came down here looking for you," said Vincent. "I saw the girls and followed. Knowing what you're like, I thought you wouldn't be far." Dante scooped down and ripped out the butcher's heart with his bare hand. Then he drew his sword. "Can you take him on, Vince?" "You trust me. I'll kill him. Then I take girls to safe." More members of the Order came running from behind the dazed creature with weapons at the ready. "Keep him safe then, and I'll go on ahead," said Dante. "If I'm lucky, I'll find another way out of here." At that moment, Raziel entered the scene, bounding off of the Order members' heads, landing behind Vincent, who was tackling the cultists to the ground and ripping off various body parts, all the while blocking attacks with the lion heart. "There you are, shampoo brain," said Raziel. "We've been fucking worried sick about you." "No time to explain," said Dante, "but I'm close to finding Kyra. Where the hell are the others?" "Well, Dad and the Lords are holding off backup. Adele should be right behind me." At that moment, Adele burst into the room in a similar fashion to that of Raziel's entrance, landing awkwardly off balance due to the fact that her leg was still wounded. "Hey, take it easy," said Raziel. "Dumbass thinks we're closer." Adele's face lightened up. "I need you two to watch Vincent's back," said Dante. "Hell no," said Adele. "We're coming with you. If it's about the fact that you want to see your sister, I get it. However, he can't hold off that many jerks on his bloody own. You at least stay with him as medical support." Adele went to insult Dante but hesitated. "You're probably right for once. Don't worry, Raz and I can take care of this. When you two clear out the bad guys, get the girls out of here." Dante ran over to the altar and placed the butcher's heart on the empty pillar designated for it. "What are you doing?" asked Raziel. "Well, I'm supposed to do something here, but I don't know what. If only Stan was here." The pair then heard someone clearing her throat, and they turned to see Shari waving. "Forget about me, did you?" she asked. "Strange," replied Dante. "I never forget a pretty face." "Anyway, what am I supposed to do?" "Well, according to the 21 Sacraments ritual, the hearts are to be divided in groups of 3, and then each group is to be destroyed in a different manner while reciting a prayer of sacrifice towards the god Maltazar. Then the gateway to the next area will open." Dante looked around the room, examining the torture devices. "You mean each group of 3 hearts has to be destroyed differently?" he asked. Raziel examined the room. "Well, there are 7 groups, and I can think of at least 7 different ways using the machines here." "Okay then, but does this have to be for Maltazar?" Shari seemed puzzled for a second. "Probably," she said, "but then again, a blood pact is a blood pact. Any deity should do, I guess." Raziel seemed intrigued. "Then I think I've figured out how to do this." Raziel gathered 3 hearts from the outside circle and walked over to a furnace with a branding iron glowing white hot inside. He raised the hearts above his head and improvised a ritualistic chant. "In the name of Abaddon, Primarch of Fire, I sentence these hearts to the flame as keys to the gate." Raziel then threw the hearts into the furnace and watched them burn away to ashes. Dante got the general idea and gave it a try himself. He raised his katana up high, shouting, "In the name of Odeon, Hunter of the Dark, I sentence these hearts to the knife as keys to the gate." Dante swung his sword down and cleaved 3 hearts in 2. Adele then ran up and grabbed 3 more hearts. Then she saw a small hammer on the floor, which was really a large rock with a wooden handle. She placed 3 hearts on the floor and lifted the hammer up over her head. "In the name of Hecate, Seraph of Time, I sentence these hearts to the stone as keys to the gate." Adele brought the hammer down and crushed the hearts to a pulp with a single blow. She then ran up and tag teamed Vincent to give him a breather from the battle. Adele took his place and cut down cultists left and right with the sacred hymn, while Vincent picked up 3 more hearts with one hand, and then he began to look around for something to destroy them with. He noticed a pool of green liquid. "What that?" he asked. "It's an acid bath," said Shari, "to dispose of the dead bodies." Vincent held the hearts over the pool and shouted, "In the name of Leviathan, Atlantean Destroyer, I sentence hearts to water as keys to the gate." Vincent dropped the hearts into the acid and watched them melt away. At that moment, Luke and Brian fought their way into the room, killing off most of the cultists to leaving the rest to Adele. "What are you kids doing here?" they asked. "Trying to open a gate," said Dante. "You're welcome to join us." "Easy," said Brian. What do we have to do?" Raziel was about to explain, but the 2 men were more interested in Shari, who had collected 3 hearts, including her own and the butcher's, ripped a noose from a torture device resembling a gallows. Then she wrapped the cord around the 3 hearts and prepared to pull the knot taut. "In the name of Maltazar, unholy god of blood and shadow, I sentence these hearts to the noose as keys to the gate." Shari yanked on the rope and the hearts were bisected. Brian immediately clicked on. "I got it." Brian walked over and scooped up 3 hearts with his right arm and carved out a section of the floor with his knife. Underneath the metal sheets there was dirt, hinting that the building was underground. Brian buried the hearts and began to stomp underground, stating, "In the name of Najord, giant of the mountains and forests, I sentence these hearts to the earth as keys to the gate." Luke looked at the final 3 hearts and decided to destroy them with his magic. "In the name of Diabolos, Elder of Babylon, I sentence these hearts to the storms as keys to the gate." Luke fired a ray of electricity that caused the hearts to explode where they sat. "Now that's what I call a massive coronary attack," he said. At that moment, the giant pyramid-headed monster lifted itself off the floor. Its helmet fell off, revealing that it had no eyes, ears, hair, or a nose. Its head was wrapped in a contraption that dug hooks into the creature's lips and held them open, revealing broken and yellowed teeth, which chattered as the head twitched at random intervals. As it marched forward, Stan jumped onto its back and began to scratch at its chest with his catals. Everybody else soon followed after, cheering Stan on. The giant creature tried to charge down Vincent, but it tripped over a corpse and fell flat on its face. Vincent then picked up the creature's tremendous sword and drove it into the creature's head, seemingly killing it. "Good job, Vin," said Raziel. "When we get back, I'll drive you up for ice cream." Vincent began to jump up and down happily, clapping his hands with a silly grin on his face. "It's like taking care of a little kid," said Brian. "A little kid who once bit for a rock because Dante said there was chocolate inside," added Raziel. "That's quite sad," said Luke. "No. The sad part is that he still tricks the poor guy into eating rocks." Dante picked up the stone hammer and began to walk over to Vincent, but Raziel interrupted him. "Put that down," he said. "He's suffered enough already, having gone for a while thicker than his own muscles just to get here." Raziel turned around and whistled at Brian, Vincent, Stan and Luke. "You lot get these girls out of here, they've suffered enough as well. Pretty Boy and I will go on ahead to rescue Kyra." It all cleared her throat. "I was about to get to you," said Raziel. "I was going to say that you've got a choice, but I can tell you want in with us." Adele crossed her arms and smiled proudly. "I find your sudden bravery rather unnerving," said Dante. "Whatever happened to the quiet girl who always stayed behind everyone and dates a vampire in near secrecy?" "She died in a fiery explosion," said Adele. "All I care about now is undoing all of her plans." "You be tripping, girl. Alright, Ramp, let's go." Brian called a group of girls over to follow him and the others out of the door, leaving Raziel, Dante and Adele and Shari behind. "Aren't you going?" asked Raziel. "I can't," replied Shari. "I'm dead. Wiped out by the butcher. Until this curse is lifted, I'm stuck here. All I can do now is help the Angel of Death liberate us." "Angel of Death?" Dante nudged Raziel. "Apparently, I'm supposed to be part of some prophecy about lifting the curse from this town at the cost of taking the evil with me or some shit like that. Either way, I just want this shit over and done with. I'm sick and tired of cutting out people's hearts already, and killing Empire soldiers is my favourite hobby. Apart from staring at yourself in the mirror," commented Adele. Dante tried to change the subject, then turned around to Shari. "So, wasn't the gate supposed to open?" he asked. Shari was confused. "I'm not sure. The gate should have opened to the next trial, but I guess it doesn't seem to be in this room." Dante turned back to Raziel and Adele. "How did you guys get in?" "Well, the exit's right up ahead," said Raziel. "It's shaped like a garage. The entrance is out front, there's room off to the side where we store all the scrap parts, then there's the back exit. We haven't gone out there though." "But that's where I came from," replied Dante. "Some creepy dimensional warp or something. I went into a room, and when I left through the same door I was in another place. I don't even know where we are." "In the church," said Adele. "There was a hidden door in one of the hallways." "Wooden door with a crucifix, but instead of Jesus it was a chick?" "Yes." "Through the keyhole was there a strange Victorian Britain style bedroom?" "Yes." "Well, I entered a similar door in the hospital. Only thing was, I was hit by someone leaving the room with the door, and I blacked out only to find myself in the room when I woke up. Then there was a message written in blood. Dracula here might be interested to have a look." Dante suddenly rushed out of the room with the others in pursuit. They reached the strange door and Dante unlocked it. They went into the room and examined their surroundings. "If a hidden entrance has opened," said Raziel, "it'll most likely be in here." "Well, I've already checked for hidden doors," replied Dante. "There are none." At that moment, Raziel's phone began to ring. John was on the other line, and he seemed surprised. "Raz, come to the graveyard quickly! Something weird is going down here!" Shari bid the others farewell, and they ran out of the building. And that was chapter 19. Okay, so we've got some stuff to cover in here, so I'll start from the beginning. The small banter with John and Raziel and John and Zoe early on is only a fictional event, but the whole thing about the Marilyn Manson Power Emperor album as a plot device is a reference to the fact that by the time I was writing this particular scene, I actually got the Power Emperor album. However, it's not a copy signed by the band, and it's not even the deluxe version of the album. However, Remember I mentioned several episodes ago that Zoe and the other Lords of Salem are based off of real people. And the part of Zoe being the leader of a feminism group is because, well, at least the way I see her as an actual person, she's a very strong woman, and I believe that she has good leadership capabilities. That's why I made her the head of the Lords of Salem in Hell's Crusade. However, I know that she can also be quite cheeky if she puts her mind to it, hence why, in the book, she decided to prank the anti-feminists by trashing their rooms and sticking rotten fish in the air vents. Despite the light-heartedness of this scene, I thought it would ease some of the tension between the creepy nature of the last chapter and the downright horrific turn of events that took place in this one. Shari being murdered and rituals and all that. Speaking of which, when the scene moves on to Dante in the White Room, the scenes of him using the various items in the room to figure out what is happening is a reference to the Silent Hill series, as is the theme of the last few and the next and maybe the one after chapter. I need to check on that. But the black chalice on the bookshelf is a reference to the Obsidian Goblet, an item obtainable in Silent Hill 2 and I think Silent Hill Downpour. But in Downpour it's only collectible as part of a side quest, but in 2 the item is important to unlocking one of the multiple endings. I won't spoil what it is. But yeah, the black chalice Dante uses a reference to that. Now, the cult that Dante fights, the Order of Malthazar, in this chapter is a reference to the Order of Silent Hill from, of course, Silent Hill Revelations, the second movie which was based off the third game. They're a bunch of sadistic zealots who believe that the whole world is the same as the cursed town they're trapped in, and the only way to repent is through extreme suffering in the name of God. But then again, some of the world nowadays is kind of like that. However, some of the torture bits are actually from like the Saw movies, because why not? I'm going for shock and awe with the horror inspired chapters, so I'm trying to push the envelope as far as I can tolerate. Remember John's ultra death threat from like chapter 15 or whatever? Or was it chapter 13 where they wake up in the laboratory after killing Atlas? Yeah, it was chapter 13. I don't have good memory. There's some places and topics so dark that even I won't tread lightly, and you'll learn a bit about that as this series goes on. Anyway, the sacrifice of the 21 Sacraments is a reference to Silent Hill 4, The Room. Some spoilers here. The antagonist wishes to reach his goal by sacrificing 21 people as part of a ritual. No shit. However, the game's version of the 21 Sacraments is quite different than mine. Go play the game for yourself if you want to learn why. And yeah, Dante claiming to be the angel of death from the prophecy is just part of his ego taking over. I mean, you'd expect Dante to get all high and mighty if he's supposed to be the chosen one. By the way, any Silent Hill fan will know of the famous Pyramid Head, as stated earlier when introducing Stan's battle-ready Sanglemancer character design in chapter 8. And yeah, while adding the actual Pyramid Head from Silent Hill in for Dante to fight was just a cameo because, well, I love Silent Hill, but I did make my own alterations by giving Pyramid Head an actual face underneath. There is a point to that, which I'll make later, yeah, in next episode. And the Butcher character is a reference to Silent Hill Origins, as the Butcher is the main character, Travis Grady's version of Pyramid Head. Like, the Butcher for Silent Hill Origins has the same purpose of Pyramid Head in Silent Hill 2. And I think that's all for now, so I'm going to do the music credits now. So, at the beginning, while John and Raziel, and later John and Adele were talking, First Winter Snow plays, a song from Newgrounds by Carthon. I've used this a lot in the latter half of the series so far. When Dante Wakes Up, Diary of Undertaker plays, a song from Newgrounds by Yanni76. I think I've used that one in previous chapters. When the cultists drag Shari into the room and Dante hides, Regards from Silent Hill Homecoming plays. When Dante enters the Chamber of Suffering and chats with Shari's ghost, Grim Reaper Lullaby plays, another song from Newgrounds by Coaxaker. Still not sure how to pronounce that. But yeah, like First Winter Snow I've used a lot before, and I'm starting to think that the author's name, it's actually a very dirty pun. So yeah, if it is, I did not catch on to this, and I'm actually good at catching on dirty jokes. So yeah, points to you, mate. When Dante fights the cultist alongside the Butcher, Mary Battle from Silent Hill 2 plays, and afterwards, during the outro, Acid Horse from Silent Hill Origins plays, towards the end. I'm starting to make a Let's Play of the first Silent Hill game as of this moment, but it's taken me a while to do so, and I cannot guarantee consistent uploads on my channel, as I do plan to put the gameplay on my own channel so I don't clog up Bandit1569's channel with my own stuff, even though I'm already putting pretty much all of my audiobook stuff on there, even though I do only put collaboration projects up on his channel. I did say in the last chapter that I will be doing some RPG Maker horror games, but I think that, yeah, since I'm doing that, I'm doing older Silent Hill stuff for Hell's Crusade, I decided to put that idea on the back burner for now. So I'm going to be doing the first Silent Hill game, and then I've been looking on the RPG Maker Horror Wikia, and I had a look at some games that I might be interested in playing. Games like Mad Father, Bandit1569 doing his own playthrough. I think he's forgotten to play it actually. And popular YouTubers like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, and I think even Cryotic have been doing. Yeah, they've done Mad Father in the past. Cry's done The Crooked Man. I think Mark's done The Crooked Man. Mark's also done like The Witch's House. And or not an RPG Maker horror per se. Corpse Party is a popular one that has been done by both PewDiePie and Cry. And the design is, yeah, it's really good. Like, it's a very good game. So if I can ever get my hands on it, I might actually play that. I've actually got the anime for Corpse Party, and it's pretty shocking. So to see the Corpse Party game series play out is actually good. There are 2 sequels I know of, and a YouTuber called Manly Badass Hero actually did sequels. And if I remember correctly, I actually read on the RPG Maker Horror that he actually did a little voice acting for one of the games. So yeah, Manly Badass Hero, tops to you for actually getting your name out there, sort of. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to talk about this time, so until next time, this is NecroarcanistXIII in association with Bandit1569, nice voice crack, in association with Bandit1569, signing off. Stay classy, YouTube.